Pumpkin Jack brings a fun and spooky twist to the 3D platforming genre. You take control of a mischievous, pumpkin-headed character as you explore eerie landscapes, fight off supernatural foes, and solve clever puzzles along the way. With its Halloween vibes and nostalgic gameplay, does Pumpkin Jack rise to the occasion, or does it get lost in the seasonal shuffle? Let's dive in and see what this surprise hit has to offer. In Pumpkin Jack, you play as Jack, a mischievous pumpkin-headed character who's brought to life in a cursed world full of eerie creatures and spooky landscapes. Your task is to cause chaos, navigating through various levels filled with supernatural enemies and environmental puzzles. The story doesn't take itself too seriously, but sets the stage for a fun and quirky adventure. While the narrative may not be groundbreaking, it adds a nice backdrop to the game's whimsical tone, making it a great fit for the Halloween season. Now, let's hop into the gameplay, and Pumpkin Jack takes inspiration from classic 3D platformers like MediEvil and Jak and Daxter, blending action, platforming, and puzzles in a spooky, fun package. The platforming is fluid, and Jack controls with precision whether you're double jumping between floating platforms or sprinting through haunted forest. Combat is simple but satisfying, with a variety of weapons unlocked throughout the game to spice things up. What really stood out to me though were the on-rails sections. Whether you're speeding through an eerie mine on a runaway cart or galloping through creepy landscapes on horseback, these sections are a thrilling change of pace and ones that certainly I wasn't expecting. The minecart sections in particular feel like a nod to classic platformers, blending fast-paced action with reflex-based challenges. These sequences are pure fun and break up the regular combat and platforming nicely, adding another layer of excitement and enjoyment to the overall gameplay. Jumping in now to the graphics and art style, and Pumpkin Jack absolutely nails the Halloween aesthetic. The game's vibrant, cartoonish art style bursts with personality. Each level is dripping with spooky charm, from eerie swamps to ghostly towns, graveyards, all bathed in atmospheric lighting that enhances the mood. Jack himself is delightfully designed with expressive animations that make him a standout character. The performance is smooth on modern consoles, maintaining a solid frame rate even when there's a lot happening on screen, which is especially important for a platformer like this. For those playing on the Nintendo Switch, there's a bit of a resolution dip, but nothing too drastic that would detract from the overall experience. Jumping in now to the sound department, and Pumpkin Jack comes alive with its audio design. The soundtrack is filled with eerie yet catchy tunes that perfectly fit the spooky atmosphere. The sound effects, from the clinking of Jack's weapons to the groaning of monsters, all add to the immersive Halloween feel and vibe, and the sound design just helps to set the tone, keeping things fun and never leaning too far into horror territory. It's more about Halloween fun than fear, and the audio reflects that. It's almost reminiscent of like when you go trick-or-treating and you go to someone's house that has a really cool setup, and they got fog and they got the lights and they got everything set up really cool, and then they have in the background some Halloween music playing. I basically got those vibes the whole time I was playing this game, but of course it sounds better than that Halloween music that you might hear when you're walking up to someone's house to go trick-or-treating. But it totally gave me those vibes, and I thought that was really cool. It definitely brought some nostalgia there. Now let's explore who this game is for, and Pumpkin Jack feels like it was made for fans of nostalgic platformers who grew up loving the action-adventure titles of the early 2000s. If you enjoyed games like MediEvil or even Spyro the Dragon, this will feel like a warm, spooky hug. Younger audiences might also enjoy it thanks to its colorful presentation and simple mechanics, though older players will get a kick out of its nods to retro gaming. With its Halloween themes, this is a perfect game to play during the spooky season, but I think its charm holds up well all year round. Let's look at the content now. Clocking in at around 5 to 6 hours, Pumpkin Jack is a relatively short experience, but it feels like the right length for what it offers. Each level is brimming with secrets, and there are plenty of collectibles like crow skulls and hidden gramophones for completionists to hunt down. However, the game doesn't overstay its welcome, which is refreshing for players looking for a shorter experience without unnecessary padding. It's the kind of game you can complete in a weekend or a weeknight and walk away feeling satisfied. Jumping into the game's difficulty, and Pumpkin Jack strikes a nice balance. The combat and platforming offer enough of a challenge to keep you engaged without becoming frustrated. It's not the hardest game out there, but that's not the point. It's about enjoying the ride. And the pacing feels just right, with each level introducing new mechanics or enemy types to keep things fresh. The boss battles and the fast-paced on-rails sections, like the minecart rides and horseback chases, and there are some other ones, but I don't want to mention all of them, but they add a nice touch of variety without being overly complex. And the boss fights are a real highlight. Now, onto the charm. Pumpkin Jack oozes Halloween spirit with its lighthearted humor, colorful art style, and playful tone. Jack himself is a charismatic anti-hero, and his interactions with his bird sidekick, the sarcastic crow, provide some of the game's funniest moments. There's many times that I was literally laughing out loud because I just wasn't expecting this kind of humor, and it was really good actually. But again, the game doesn't take itself too seriously, which is part of its charm. It's fun, goofy, and just spooky enough to keep you entertained without diving into full-blown horror. If you're someone who loves Halloween but isn't into terrifying experiences, this game nails that perfect middle ground. Jumping into the fun factor, and Pumpkin Jack is just pure spooky fun. The blend of platforming, combat, and puzzle solving keeps things entertaining throughout, and the Halloween theme is executed perfectly. The high-speed on-rails horseback sequences, again, those are standout moments that really add to the excitement. It's the type of game that's easy to pick up, enjoy, and return to every October when you're in the mood for something festive. In terms of game time, as I mentioned earlier, you're looking at around 5 to 6 hours to beat the main story, with some extra time if you're going after all the collectibles. The length feels just right for a game of this type. It's enough to keep you entertained, again, without overstaying its welcome. Now let's dive into Pumpkin Jack's legacy, because there is something to talk about here. And Pumpkin Jack not only captures this spirit of Halloween, but also stands as a testament to indie game development. One of the most impressive aspects of this game is that it was mostly made by one person, Nicolas Meissonier, and I apologize if I butchered your last name, but his dedication shines through in every aspect of the game, from its detailed environments to its smooth gameplay. Adrian Lucas later helped bring the game to consoles, and then Johan Jaeger's atmospheric music tied it all together. In an era where big-budget games dominate the scene, Pumpkin Jack proves that passionate projects can still carve out their own space and make a lasting impression. It's a hidden gem that deserves recognition, especially for how much one person accomplished in creating such a polished experience. If you're a fan of indie games or love supporting solo developers, Pumpkin Jack should be high up on your list. Alright guys, now it's time for my final thoughts. And Pumpkin Jack may not be the longest or most complex game, but it nails the fun factor with its Halloween charm, tight platforming, and engaging mix of gameplay mechanics. So whether you're drawn to its spooky atmosphere, nostalgic nods to classic platformers, or the impressive fact that most of it was developed by one person, Pumpkin Jack is a delightful treat for the season. It's a game that surprises, entertains, and leaves you wanting more in all the right ways. So if you're looking for a lighthearted, spooky adventure to dive into, this one's definitely worth adding to your list. I'd like to know, what did you think of Pumpkin Jack? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more game reviews. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, remember, you're never too old to play video games.